The Mavs pick up another win, and they've stacked up wins that I know once Luka got hurt, there was some question about that. Kyrie took over in the fourth quarter because he had been having a fairly mediocre evening, especially shooting. But in the fourth quarter, 4 of 5 from 3. He was also playing through illness like Derek Lively, although he had to miss the second half, and a few other players. So I thought his fourth quarter was incredible.
They are playing their hearts out.
Yeah, they are.
Really are.
I after really not liking the way they were playing, and we'll talk about it here after that Utah game, losing to a horrible team. You're just like, they're not. You hate saying this about professional athletes. They're not trying their hardest.
Yeah.
Like, they don't seem to care about this season. Yeah, they're winning some games, but they're just moseying through. They're just going through the motions. This isn't fun to watch. And they had that meeting, and Luka got hurt, and it has seemed to, spark them into just watching very inspired basketball from whoever's on the court. They are trying their hardest. Even the loss to Miami, I'll just go back. They gave it all they had, and they took it to overtime. They just ran out of juice. And I thought last night, going into it, Kevin, I'm like, dude, if they lose by 20, they lose by 20. I get it, man. They gotten from Denver to Miami to Atlanta. This is a weird trip when you talk about, West Coast to East Coast and then a back-to-back. And they played their hearts out, and they were down by 6, I believe, at halftime after having a horrible close to halftime. And then from that point on, the second half, no, we're not giving up. Whatever we have left in the tank, we're going to empty it, and we're going to see if we can win this game. And I think as a Mavs fan, I will speak for myself, and I'll say you should be. I'll put shame on you if you're not, you should be proud of these Dallas Mavericks.
I really have as you were just kind of talking about, the last couple of fourth quarters as well, and really the whole game, because you didn't find yourself in a deficit, and the fact that, because even Kyrie had the quote, I saw it from Grant Athseth, he said, hey, was there any chance you were going to miss the game tonight because of the illness? And Kyrie said, hell no. No, sorry. No. Didn't cross my mind. I was just thinking about being there for my guys as much as they're there for me. It was a gutsy win. So think about the last part of that quote. Being there for my guys as much as they are there for me. It was a gutsy win. That encapsulates everything I imagine anybody would want in any of their teams.
That is also Kyrie's role, right? Luka is the superstar player. Kyrie is filling every other void that Luka can. And that's what he's like. Look, he's even trying to teach Luka last year. He was like, look, man, you got to be there for these moments, too. These are other things, too. And so that's another reason I think these guys play hard when Luka's out, is because they know that Kyrie's on the court, and he's going to give that kind of effort for that kind of night. I saw a number that Derek Jones Jr. last year had 6 20-point games in his Mavs season, and Najee Marshall has 4 already. And I don't know if y'all are like, hey, it's already an upgrade, or how y'all feel about Najee Marshall. But, Kevin, I know yesterday you had mentioned he's better offensively than you expected.
He is, and I know that's not
necessarily. Shot like S to start the year. And
that is true.
Tremendously now.
And I'm not saying that's the end-all, be-all for all of these players, because obviously we talk about, look, Derek Jones could get it for you occasionally offensively, but you thought about it a lot from a defensive perspective. But Najee Marshall is a better offensive player than I guess I thought. And we could talk about that. I also wanted to throw another thing out in that mix, if you're okay with it, is we didn't get a chance to talk about it yesterday, but I found it to be really, really fascinating. Mike Curtis from the Dallas Morning News had a story kind of breaking down how the Mavs had a team meeting after that loss to the Jazz. I mean, and it could be for a variety of factors. First of all, the Jazz aren't very good, so maybe you didn't see maximum effort, and that's why you lost the game. Second of all, you lost 4 straight games, and they had been by a total of 8 points. And so, once again, I go to Kyrie on this, and he said essentially the idea behind the meeting was accountability, effort, and unselfishness were the main themes of the meeting. Now, I'm not saying that has to point to any one direct player. I'm just telling you, I'm not saying that. But Kyrie said, we had a nice full meeting in film and just asked about how our effort needed to be better and how we needed to hold each other accountable. It's not just up to the coaches all the time to hold us accountable. It's up to the players to be out there communicating. So There's a variety of things I love about that, not the least of which is it's not just up to the coaches for communication and accountability. It's up to us, too.
Well, absolutely. I do remember, was it Troy Aikman that was like, why do I always have to be the one over here griping at everybody? Was that the Barry Switzer era? Or
it might have been. It was both. I think it all built up into that moment where Troy was just sick of playing for the Cowboys the way it was run.
But the coaches, they have a responsibility, and their responsibility for the most part is to prepare you for the game and give you the plan and the outline. And then you as a player have to be the ones like raising yourselves up. Look at what Jaylen Brown did for his team last year. Jason Tatum gets all the limelight, and Jaylen Brown was like, I'm taking this over. I am leading this group. And he was the voice on that bench. That's absolutely what has to happen. You can't always just rely on coaches to come in and save everything because they want to see you do it on your own too. They want to see that you guys have bonded together, have grown something together. They know that that voice gets old after a full 82 games, so other people in that room have to be the voices that are speaking up for it.
Well, I hear what you're saying. I would say with Boston, Jaylen Brown became their best player in the playoffs. I would probably put a lot of the leadership on Drew Holiday and Al Horford.
That's a great one, yeah.
Now, we don't know. We weren't in the huddles. We weren't in the locker rooms before and during the game.
I was going a lot off of the stuff I saw from the huddles on the TV.
Yeah, and so I look at, obviously, Kyrie Irving, I think, leading this team. And I'm not saying Luka gets in the way, but right now, after that meeting, and Luka going out pretty much after that meeting, I know that he played in a game.
One more game, yeah.
But I look at this team, and they do seem to be fighting for each other. They're trying their best to get rebounds, and they're doing a pretty dang good job of it as they started off horrible at that. I'm just, I keep wondering as we talk about Najee Marshall, 9 of 12 from the field last night. P.J. Washington is on a really good stretch last night. Yeah, he didn't put up 20 points, but 5 of 11 is an efficient game from him. You'll take that from him. Obviously, Jaden Hardy stepped up tremendously with Klay Thompson out and Luka's still out. And I'm just wondering, is Luka seeing these things from his house and going, I can trust Najee Marshall. I can trust these guys to take something off of my plate. I'm going to set them up for success, but I don't have to do everything.
I really hope he does, because, the more I watch this team, I thought a lot about what you've been saying kind of on that front the last 5 days. This team they're playing their butts off, right? But they have a very defined ceiling, and that's probably not going particularly far in the playoffs.
For sure.
Not because of lack of effort or anything like that. Just hustle plays will sometimes only get you so far.
Right.
So I hope Luka is watching and not only thinking, like, I can trust these guys, but thinking, what's the ceiling with me in it? Because this level of effort and add Luka, the ceiling is a world title. I'm not saying that means they win the world title, but the ceiling is absolutely a world title. So I'm hoping that all those messages are falling in. Obviously, Luka will miss at least the Knicks game on Wednesday, and I know he'll be reevaluated on Friday. Personally, I wouldn't necessarily count the back-to-backs this weekend either.
I think this is really important, and Corey, I'll bring it back to the team you're mentioning. Boston last year, I know they had a tremendous year, easily won the championship. What these last 3 or 4 games have proven to me, Luka, you have a championship team. No excuses on we're not good enough here or there or this or that. This team beat Denver on the road. They went to Miami and went to overtime and lost. Atlanta's not a good team, but they're not horrible, especially with you're missing Klay Thompson, you're missing Luka. They fought their butts off at halftime after being down by 6, and they came back and won by 10. This team is proving everything is here to be a champion. Luka, you have no excuse not to win the championship this year. Injury could happen if he gets hurt and he can't play, to your point. Or if Kyrie were to get hurt and couldn't play in the playoffs. I totally get it.
Or at least, sorry, Mike, I don't mean to break your train of thought. Or at least maybe you go toe-to-toe with Boston and it doesn't go your way, and at least you know what you need to, like, tweak from there. And I'm not saying, I'm saying, like, no, that you lose, but you lose because it was like a battle, and Boston just had it.
And I want to be honest as a Maverick fan, and you should too as this season progresses. If Luka wants to complain to a referee and not get back on defense, and it is just a wide-open 3, bam, they make it, or an easy dunk, and then Luka is still in his own head screaming at the ref. Luka, It is all your fault. It is nobody else's fault. It's all of your fault that your team has now lost concentration, lost focus, because you have totally taken it away. You are the superstar. You could be the best player in the NBA, and you could win not only a championship, I believe he could win championships. This team is proving that it has everything there. But when you get outside of the game and decide to go, I'm just going to complain to the referee, or I'm going to fake an injury and not get back on defense, and then you see that the energy of the team is sapped out for the next 2 or 3 minutes, you did it all on your own, Luka.
Yeah.
You can blame P.J. Washington for this or that, but it was all Luka who took away this energy. And this energy that the Mavs have, Luka, be a part of this energy. Improve this energy. Don't take away from this energy the Mavericks are creating.